Let's now turn our attention to reactions trailing the accusation leveled against Nigeria by the Confederation of Sahel States over the violation of Burkina Faso's airspace after a Nigerian Air Force aircraft carrying 11 people was forced to land in the country on Monday. In a video message, Mali's Minister of Security read out a statement by the Confederation of Sahel States condemning the violation of its airspace and the sovereignty of its member states. The Confederation described the incident as an unfriendly act carried out in defiance of international law and aviation rules and threatened to place its air and anti-aircraft defenses on maximum alert with authorization to neutralize any violating aircraft, eliciting reactions. I'll take some poster next. This person wrote, "Emergency landing or not, detaining Nigerian military personnel is an unnecessary escalation. Issues like this are supposed to be resolved through swift military-to-military communication. West African countries must stop turning brothers into enemies. Today it's Nigeria, tomorrow it could be them. Diplomacy must lead, not ego." Another ex-user wrote, "We stand with our troops. Diplomatic channels must be respected. But unjust detentions aren't the way forward. Hoping for a swift, peaceful resolution and the safe return of our personnel." Now, Ayo, we know the Confederation of Sahel States is made up of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which formally exited ECOWAS in January following military coups and suspensions from the bloc. The Confederation says the Nigerian aircraft had an in-flight emergency in Burkina Faso's airspace and had to land, but the Nigerian plane had no authorization to fly over their territory.
So the official statement is signed by Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, who is the Director of Public Relations and Information. He had actually clarified what you already highlighted.
Yes.
So that was the official statement that they said they were on their ferry mission to Portugal yesterday, 8th of December. And following takeoff from Lagos, the crew observed the technical concern which necessitated a precautionary landing in Burkina Faso, which was the nearest airfield at the time. They also made it clear that this is in accordance with standard safety procedures and international aviation protocols. They also highlighted the fact that the NAV crew is safe and have received cordial treatment from the host communities. So, I mean, what we had said earlier on is that this is a statement, official statement from the Nigerian Air Force, and then there are stories around that they are being detained. According to this statement, they are not being detained. They've received cordial treatment, and it was based on an emergency landing. Some of us have been in situations where planes developed issues or passengers on the flight had issues for commercial flights. In this case, it's a military flight where you have to find the nearest, strip to land. And this is what has happened. And I think for now, I'll stand with the official position of the Nigerian Air Force until proven otherwise. But this is what they have released this morning.
Okay, very well said, very well said. Well, now in Sokoto State, several reports indicate Nigerian security forces launched an operation around 9 a.m. in the Sabon Benin forest on Monday and successfully killed 7 terrorists. According to eyewitnesses, other terrorists escaped as troops moved to capture them. The troops worked in collaboration with farmers in Fadama Tara and local vigilantes on the successful mission. Well, in light of this, let's take a moment to highlight the Nigerian Air Force and their push for the champions. Dr. Mati was dancing behind the scenes, but we have to always find a way to, highlight the efforts of the military. I'm really excited about this incident that occurred in Sokoto State, which has been, a hotbed in recent time of, kidnappings and banditry. And it's good to see that, our Nigerian military are doing what they're doing. They're even working with farmers and vigilante groups to secure the territory. Dr. Abate, a quick word before I go to Anambra State.
Well, I mean, just to commend the Air Force, anytime they do well, also the armed forces, generally, not just the Air Force. But I keep making the point that, they have a tough task. And they are overstretched. The Nigerian armed forces, they are overworked. Now, the president has directed that they should recruit more persons. And then also, there's also the directive that anybody that is due for retirement should not go on retirement, should just stay and, take on this task. But, we need more boots on the ground. We need more collaboration, interagency collaboration. which was why the new Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, was making that point about collaboration among the various agencies. And that's very important because, we can't be using soldiers to do police work most of the time. So the attempt to upgrade the security agencies is very important. So when they do well, we praise them, but we should also not overstretch them.
Yes.
We should also pay attention to their welfare.
Right.
100 billion naira has been recommended, approved by the National Economic Council. That 100 billion naira should be well managed. Correct. So that there will be motivation. Ayo calls it the mindset, so that the mindset, can be strong.
Absolutely.
For them to continue to serve. And training facilities and equipment should be made available.
Yes. Yes.
That is what is important.
Yes. Correct. And a quick comment in Burkina Faso, the story.
Okay, the situation in Burkina Faso, the press statement that Ayo read, that's exactly what the Nigerian government has said. It was just a safety procedure. They were on their way to Portugal. But at the same time, it's good to hear that the authorities in Burkina Faso, they've been host. Yes. They've been very nice cordial, to our men. The thing is, okay, the Alliance of Sahel States, they have exited ECOWAS in January, but you still have to continue to engage them.
Yes.
5 out of the members of ECOWAS have military rulers, but they are still within this space. And ECOWAS made some concessions about trade, about tariffs, but we hope that someday, it will be one happy community once again, as envisioned by the founding fathers of ECOWAS in 1975.
Well said, Dr. Vati, well said. Now to Anambra State, where residents of Isiokwe are on the edge after the wife of an Anglican pastor was killed on Sunday morning after gunmen attacked St. Andrew's Church and set the building on fire. An eyewitness said the gunmen appeared to have been targeting the pastor, Venerable Obese, who escaped. Well, here's a video of the aftermath.
With this one, we have lost two vehicles now, and a machine, motorcycles. This is the pastor's house. I was burned down and raised to ashes. Jesus. This is the pastor's car. Burned down. Ukochukwu's car. Burned to ashes and the building. It's quite unfortunate that at this time in our community, when we are trying to see that we gain back our community, things like this are happening. It's quite unfortunate.
Rufai, the police spokesman for Anambra State, Tochukwu Ikenga, confirmed the attack as well as the killing of the pastor's wife, adding that the police commissioner has condemned the attack and assured the families of the victims that the perpetrators will be tracked down and brought to justice. This is the police statements that we received, and this is the sort of statements that we see whenever such incidents occur. Rufai, my heart bleeds for this sort of stories that come out about these killings and burning down of churches.
So this also coupled with the killing in Lilu.
Yeah.
All right. The police will always say we'll track down the perpetration and break them down. How many have we tracked down? How many have we brought to book? How many of those that have perpetrated these heinous acts against people have been brought to book? The kidnappers that kidnap people in Kwara, have we brought them to book? Those that release these people, have we brought them to book? So you see, that's the massive level of insecurity. And I keep repeating this. For those that have ears, let them hear. I am worried because increasingly in a state where it starts to look like the government does not have the autonomy of violence, a state must have the autonomy of violence more than any other actor. That's why you have all the paraphernalia of state. That's why you have heavy budgetary provisions for insecurity. That's why you have military officers that will also call for better funding that should be able to go out there and bring the perpetrators to book. But in Nigeria, we hear of complicity. We hear of people not doing their work. We hear of one too many times, people are getting away with murder. The question I'd like to ask them is, how many of these people that perpetrate crimes like this have ever been brought to book? What is the list like? What is the number? So as long as we have these gaps, then President Tinubu, see, the title of the commander-in-chief, on easy lies the head that wears the crown. You were so bold to call Jonathan all sorts of names. And we supported you because we said that's the role of the opposition. But today, if we speak and call you names and say do the needful, protect people, your people will be shouting, oh, you don't have the rights. They will write flowery English to be abusing us. But we supported you when you were calling Jonathan names. The sad part is people like them, Dr. Abati, that was on the receiving end. Dr. Abati, which name did you even call people that used to abuse Jonathan that time? Children of perdition, or what name did you call them? Because you were the one that was not abusing them then. But they called Jonathan names and we supported you, President Tinubu. Your supporters even went ahead, carried a coffin and wrote Jonathan on the coffin while President Jonathan's mother was still alive. But today, if we talk now, your people will be calling and say we talk too much. Oh. They will be calling at the back. Don't say, don't call for his resignation. Don't call for it. Do something about it. That's what we are saying. That's all we want. Right. Do something about this level of insecurity. And Dr. Abati, with due respect, I totally disagree with that talk. Insecurity has been there before President Tinubu come. He didn't know insecurity was in ground before he went to vie for presidency.
All right.
So, who is the president on ground? Is it me? Who is supposed to do the work? We should not be giving excuses like that for him.
All right.
He knew what he was going into before he went into it. As long as he's there, the day he leaves power, we will turn to the other person that is president and we ask him questions.
All right, fine.
If his President Tinubu is not president, do you think I will disturb him and be talking about security? It's because he's president. So he will take everything.
All right, my heart goes out to the family of the pastor's wife and the pastor. We hope that, there will be some succor for that family, and we pray for her soul. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Now, I always say, it can be doom and gloom. It cannot be doom and gloom.
It cannot all the time.
Well, all right. We'll take our good news report now, highlighting Africa's richest man, Alhaji Aliko Dangote's incredible commitment to Nigerian education as he announces a $700 million investment to transform the lives of over 155,000 Nigerians over the next 10 years. Alhaji Aliko Dangote, chairman of the Dangote Group, made the groundbreaking announcement on Sunday at the 2025 Doha Forum in Doha, Qatar. Speaking during a panel session that features Bill Gates, Dangote explained that the investment will support students across secondary schools and universities in Nigeria, aiming to reduce the number of out-of-school children and provide more manpower with the technical capacity to advance the economy. The industrialist emphasized the importance of partnership, citing his collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to eradicate polio in Nigeria. Dangote revealed that the fund, which launches next week, will run for 10 years before review, addressing Africa's significant challenges in training and education.
We just about to launch also because of the young population that we have, and we have a lot of children out of school. So what we are going to launch next week, we are launching a $700 million fund to fund education of, at the fourth year, we'll be having people from secondary school up to university level, totaling about 155,000. We'll run it for 10 years, then we'll review.
Congratulations to Aliko Dangote for this monumental investment in Nigeria's future. $700 million in education funding. This is nation building at its finest. From eradicating polio to now empowering the next generation with quality education, Dangote continues to prove that private sector leadership can transform lives. Congratulations, Aliko Dangote. A quick word.
Excellent. Very, very good move. And I said it offline that he's been known, he's been consistent in his philanthropy. He's a philanthropist par excellence and has been able to use his wealth to enrich the people of Nigeria. When we talk about education, I don't think we understand to what extent the power of education, and we see it under threat, even with regards to the insecurity we currently face. And the truth is that the North is significantly impacted by this. He's the Northerner himself. And I want to believe that a reasonable amount of this money will go to the region he's from. We've often talked about Nigeria's out-of-school children being the highest in the world. We have a lot of areas to tackle in education, and to see leaders like himself take that forefront is amazing, and I hope others will follow the path as well. When we want to talk about, on our final notes, when we're talking about tackling the issues of education in Nigeria, we cannot just look at the federal government. It must be a collective effort with both the public and private sector. And this is what Alhaji Aliko Dangote is leading on. Congratulations and thank you and well done to him. We want to see more of this amongst private.
We want to see more private sector individuals
do this.
take on such roles.
Africapitalism is what it's called.
Yes, absolutely. Again,
Nigerians, make I give una the clear example and illustration of waiting they go on for this country under master strategist leadership. For una to know say na real ori buruku, na express night we day for this country under the master strategist and APC government leadership. Nigerians, this is December 2025. As we dey talk so, the federal government, President Tinubu, never submit 2026 budget 2026, which will start in few weeks. The budget has not been submitted to National Assembly. If you think say that one bad reach, it is not even the real case. 2025 budget, where go soon end in a few weeks, has not been implemented. Nigeria 2025, we just they run them based on awuyewuye as we they go since 2024. The 2025 budget has not been implemented. The year is ending. 2026 budget has not been submitted. But guess what? Renewed hope vehicles for 2027 re-election is ready and it's already been distributed. 2025 budget they never implement. 2026 budget they never submit. But 2027 renewed Oriburuku buses for re-election have already they share them. Now so we they run them under master strategist leadership. Waiting be the reason, ask the president, ask the minister for finance, ask the senate president, Chief Godswill Akpabio, deputy senate president Barau Jibrin, speaker Tajuddin Abbas, deputy speaker Benjamin Kalu, and Mr. President, minister for budget Abubakar Atiku Bagudu. Why have we not implemented the 2025 budget? What is wrong with that document? Is it a document of criminality? The thing where when they do for government, may God give Nigerians the wisdom to deliver themselves. What of the 2,000 tractors where they say Tinubu unveil in June, maybe July of this year? When I don't forget the time we unveil them, they say they see in friend Mr. Alex from Chicago State University, the Belarusian Minister for Agri could have been there. The Senate committee members on Agri, including all of them, Senator Salim Mustafa, make una not do like una don't forget to where are the tractors? Where they don't share them, but renewed Ori Buruku buses for 2027. When we are not sure say we go there alive to see, they are ready on ground. They distribute those ones. But budget of a country has not been implemented. The year don't end. The next year on they never submit them. Ori Buruku Lenshe. Oshileshe Nigerian government. Nigerians, this is the government of the master strategies. I say when you open APC, you go see Oriburuku. When you open Oriburuku, you go see APC. If you not like Nigerians, make una no wake up, mobilize and deliver yourself. 2027, the more you look, the less you see. My name is Peter for the budget. Sorry, Peter for.
100 students of St. Mary's Catholic School who regained their freedom from abductors on Sunday are heading home. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commended security agencies for securing their freedom. The students were received by Governor Umar Bago at the government house in Mina on Monday after they had spent 2 weeks in captivity. President Tinubu expressed joy over their safe return, but charged security agencies to ensure the swift release of the remaining 153 students and 12 teachers still in captivity. Well, here is the movement. The students were received at the government house in Mina.
are just excited and we're happy that we've received 100 of these children, as you saw just a minute ago, and want to thank the President, the security agencies, and every Nigerian that have been part of this recovery. And we are hopeful by the grace of God we'll get the remaining very, very soon.
We're glad to see these children have been freed. President Tinubu has also assured parents that both the federal and Niger state governments are working closely to reunite all abducted students with their families, and has charged the security forces to prevent future kidnappings and ensure schools are no longer soft targets for terrorists. Well, according to reports, the rescue followed intensified military operations, aerial surveillance across Niger, Kwara and Kebbi states, and deployment of community hunters in the forest. Yet, no arrests were made. Let's take a reaction on X. This person wrote, how do these kids return without corresponding arrests or neutralization of the terrorists? How do you convince them to release the children without incidents? Your negotiating team must have a great power of conviction. Or are there some under-the-table transactions that the citizenry are privy to? I know that your government wouldn't pay ransom to terrorists. That would be gross irresponsibility. Of course, that's beneath you. But we, the ordinary citizens, are just curious as to how you're able to pull these negotiations through time and time again without incidents. I know that, the Christian Association of Nigeria, in a statement on Monday, said it had not received, official notification regarding the release of the 100 abducted students. The chairman of CAN Niger State chapter, Bishop Bulos Yohana, noted that while it would be cherry news to learn of the abductees' freedom, no information about their current whereabouts has been delivered to the grieving communities, raising questions about coordination between security agencies and key stakeholders in the release process. Now, we've seen this video, and the Niger State government has said that they're going to return the pupils to their family, I believe, hopefully after some sort of rehabilitation. We're glad, we're happy that our 100 young children are back home. Kudos to the security forces that helped to secure their release or freedom. But the question is still out there. Where are the terrorists who abducted these children? Where did they find them? Where are the remaining children?
Big question, Oji. And yes, like I said this morning, on the hearts of parents, well-wishers, loved ones, or anybody with a conscience or a heart, what you're looking at when you see a release like this is, thank God the children are back.
Yes.
Even though not all of them, we're told this morning 315 abducted, students and teachers, 50 escaped, 100 now rescued, so it means that 165, still more than those who were taken, are still in captivity. So first of all, let me say thank God that they're back home. We are grateful to the security operatives and all those who were involved in their release. However, a bigger question would then be what we've been asking for, whether it be from Kebbi State or in Niger State, would be what kind of release is almost as if Nigeria is writing a new script on how rescue operations are conducted, in such a way that rescue operations are conducted where there are no arrests. We don't have an opportunity to have that peace of mind that this will not occur again because the perpetrators or the people behind this have been apprehended. And it means that people will wait with bated breath as to where would be the next location based on what their agreements are. I also think there's a suspicion around this phased approach, or shall I say batch approach, to the release of these students. Why is it that only a few have been released at this time? Why were they not all released at the same time? I cannot imagine the anguish. 2 parents, by the way, have died whilst waiting for their children. And when you look at the faces of how young they are, you can understand the trauma that the parents and the children must have faced in the 2 weeks since they've been in captivity. I believe that whilst we celebrate on one hand the fact that these children are back home, which is what we have been calling for, and salute the efforts of all the security stakeholders who secured their release, the bigger question, in order for us to have that assurance that we won't see a reoccurrence or that we are proactive, is an apprehension of the terrorists who abducted them in the first place, a full going through of the justice system, facing persecution. If found guilty, let us see the penalties for that, because this also acts as a deterrent for those who might have an idea of going into this life of criminality and terrorism, not to do it that if you dare venture into this, you will be caught, you will be found out, and you will face the full wrath of the law. Unfortunately, that assurance is not there. Instead, it looks as if there's some form of negotiation. It's not just about payment of ransom. It's also the fact that it seems there's a similitude of negotiations happening, and this government has continued to maintain that they will not negotiate with terrorists. It means that somebody is lying.
All right.
Ayo, you're spot on. You asked the question, Oji, where are the terrorists? Please ask the government that knows them so well, that they romance themselves, that they call them on the phone to release people, that they can even give you blow-by-blow accounts of what is going on with the people kidnapped. But Oji, in this conversation, what we are not looking at is that things are so bad now in Nigeria that to be a child in this country is a sad, sad commentary. Do you know that it is children that are kidnapping these children? Have you seen the picture of some of the terrorists that were killed? Those that come on TikTok.
We've seen their
They are children too.
They're young boys.
So what we have in this conversation, we have not even talked about the child soldiers that have emerged in Nigeria. Nigeria has now become a den for child soldiers.
Yes. And you know, former President Olusegun Obasanjo had raised that in one of his interviews, where he talked about how Gumi cried when he saw these young boys in the forest and they are drugged out. They have access to guns, they have access to drugs, and they have no future.
They're child soldiers, so
in the forest.
It's a double whammy.
Yes.
We're saying they're kidnapping children, but it is the children, the future of this country, they're also kidnapping the children that they've misled, that they've destroyed their lives, that they have become terrorists today. In all of this, the government now said they've done a deal, they released people. What about the parents that died? So nothing will happen, right? The cycle will continue again. You will keep talking to them, they will kidnap again, you will release them. Just like we had the Kankara boys, it's not agreements.
Right.
Then we had the Dapchi, you will kidnap, they will release, and the government has not solved the problem.
All right.
Why is all of this happening? Because the government is not ready to end the pervasive level of insecurity. If the Nigerian state, like I said, is ready, then it will end. And that's why, like I said before, Oji, this talk about, don't say President Tinubu should resign. When all of this was happening under Jonathan, did President Tinubu call for his resignation? He did.
All right.
If you violate a constitutional requirement, should I not call for a resignation? I should. Section 14, subsection 2 talks about the security of lives and property being in the hands of the state. If the head of state violates that by not providing security for the people, what has he done? Has he not violated the constitution? It's not grounds for him to resign.
All right. Well, meanwhile, United States Congressman Riley Moore has described the rescue of the 100 students as a positive demonstration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's response to the country's security challenges. Riley Moore made the remark in a post on X following his meeting with National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu in Abuja. He thanked the NSA for a productive meeting with the U.S. congressional delegation to Nigeria and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, stating, I'll read Riley Moore's post in part. He wrote, I want to thank the Nigerian government and President Tinubu for rescuing the 100 innocent and precious Catholic school children. This is a positive demonstration of the government's increasing response to the security situation and shows commitment to the emergency declaration laid out by President Tinubu. The U.S.'s sense of urgency on our concerns was positively received. I feel that a cooperative security framework is within sight. The now established joint task force between Nigeria and the U.S. is a great example. It is clear that there is an openness and willingness on the part of the Nigerian government to work with the United States to tackle these critical issues. Now, that openness has to translate to concrete action. There is much work still to be done, but things are moving in the right direction. I look forward to the next steps with the Nigerian government and the continuing open dialogue, Peace be with you all. God bless the great people of Nigeria. Dr. Bati, I wanted to read out the tweet, just so that we can have context to what he was actually saying, praising the Tinubu administration, especially for the rescue efforts with the 100 school children that were released on Sunday. Now, Riley Moore also met with Benue State religious and traditional leaders to discuss ongoing violence in the Middle Belt region. The lawmaker posted a photo of his meeting with Bishop Wilfred Anagbe, Bishop Isaac Dugu, and James Luwiza, traditional ruler of the Tiv people. Moore described the meeting as an honor, stating that Christians in the region will no longer suffer in silence and that the United States has heard their cries. Over to you.
Okay, first, I do not subscribe to the idea of anybody saying President Tinubu should resign. That's not part of the conversation. President Tinubu did not start insurgency, banditry, or terrorism. He inherited it. And if what Congressman Riley Moore is saying is anything to go by, this is a man who has come on a fact-finding mission after all that back and forth between the United States and Nigeria, saying that he is convinced that the Nigerian government is committed to open dialogue and to cooperation, and that the Nigerian U.S. Joint Working Group, chaired by NSA Nuhu Ribadu from our side, is working. And that he believes that with the kind of dialogue that he has had with the Nigerian authorities, if some of the agreements are followed, that the Tinubu administration will be able to address some of the concerns, not just about alleged Christian persecution, but also about the security of the people of Nigeria generally. So I think Congressman Moore, said, what should be enheartening for those who believe in the progress of Nigeria and for the administration that has been making every possible effort to address the concerns of the United States as articulated by President Trump on October 31. Now, Congressman Moore was one of the two persons that President Trump gave the directive to go and investigate. Now, the other person was the chairman of the Appropriations Committee in Congress. And this is in line with his work. Now, yesterday I said, well, this investigation is coming a posteriori, after the fact, that shouldn't they have done this investigation before jumping to certain conclusions about Nigeria? But better late than never. I think there is hope in the horizon. So, yeah. There is established understanding. There is, some development in the direction of the cooperation that the Nigerian government asked for. Well, typical diplomatic approach. Congressman Moore, Ambassador Richard Mills and Balat and other members of that delegation, they also met with civil society. They were in Benue, where they met with the governor, and they met with Bishop Anagbe, Bishop Dugu, and also the Tiv, so that it's not only government side that they are listening to. However, the caveat that I added is that, okay, this is a fact-finding mission. What matters is what President Trump decides at the end of the day. When President Trump sends diplomats either to Doha, whether it's Steve Witkoff or it is his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, or it is Scott Bessent, what we always hear is that where we have to report back to President Trump. He's the one who will decide. And I hope that they will brief President Trump appropriately and make everything open, the same kind of openness that Congressman Moore is commending from the Nigerian side, that they would, and then there will be some kind of understanding, and that the cooperation that Nigeria is asking for, will be at the fulcrum of that process of collaboration. And
so guys, let me end this video with this latest tweet by Ryan Moore. He tweeted some hours ago about his fact-finding mission in Nigeria. And this is exactly what he said. He said, while in Benue State, I met with dozens of Christians who were driven from their homes and subjected to horrific violence and now live in IDP camps. They told harrowing stories that will remain with me for the rest of my life. One woman was forced to watch As they killed her husband, 5 children, she and her unborn child barely escaped. Another woman's family was murdered in front of her, and her baby was ripped from her womb. One man's family was hacked to death in front of his eyes, and his arm was permanently mangled. So guys, this is Raymond speaking. He went further to say there are more than 600,000 Christians, 600,000 Christians in IDP camps in Benue State alone. These Christians should be able to live in their ancestral homelands without fear of genocidal Fulanis. Raymond is speaking. More than 600. This is close to 1 million. These are people that, you know, living in all these small villages in Benue State. Just Benue State alone. So guys, you can imagine what these terrorists have cost Nigerians. So if only in Benue State you have about 600,000, you know, Benue people living in IDP camps. They've left their homes. Don't even talk about Benue, Plateau State, because Plateau State, for me, I think Plateau, a majority of them have left their villages. You know, they've left their villages because of the same attack. So you can imagine, by the time you combine Plateau and Benue, you don't even go to places like, even in Abuja, there's IDP camps. Taraba, Nasarawa, so many of these northern states, there are IDP camps. Then you go to Kaduna. Don't forget that many villages in Kaduna State have all been deserted because of the horror of the Fulanis. So guys, it is really so sad that this is happening and Tinubu is looking for second term. This is happening and Tinubu is looking for second term. In short, when are Christians in Nigeria going to wake up? Shebi, they say this country is 50-50, Muslims 50, Christians 50. If all Christians can come together and sympathize with these people in IDP camps and say no to Tinubu coming back in 2027, it's going to send a very strong message to the Muslims in the north. You know that even though you say you have the population, you can't win the presidency alone. The North cannot give you, need the South. And if the South can come together and say, Tinubu cannot come back. Can you imagine Tinubu and Shetima? None of them have visited any of these IDP camps. Peter Obi tried to go. The Reverend Father in Benue State refused because they don't want their dirtiness to be exposed to the public. They don't want the world to see how the people of Benue are struggling and smiling. You know, suffering and smiling. They rejected Peter Obi entering the state. When Peter Obi also went to even a Catholic school, a Catholic nursing school in Edo State. They say Peter Obi should dare not. Can you see, everything in this country is politics? Everything in this country is politics. So for me, if Raymond is coming out to say they have about 600,000, this is close to a population of people like Qatar is not even up to this population. Qatar, or what do you call it? Qatar is not up to this population of persons. Qatar as a country does not have this number of persons. And if that is the number that is living in IDP camp, then there is a problem. If all the Christians in Nigeria can come together and say, no, we won't vote for Tinubu, as in a way to sympathize with our brethren. After the Bible says, you mourn with those that mourn, rejoice with those that rejoice. These our brethren are in IDP camps. They are mourning. The only way a Christian community can, you know, associate with their pain is by saying no to the APC-led administration. It's since APC came into power that we have IDPs scattered all over the country. And for them, there is no plan to take them back. They should just be there. They should just be there. That's why Tinubu is giving states money. They should go and be taking care of IDP camps where they are. No plan to take them back. Tinubu does not even want to dare the Fulanis. He doesn't want to dare the Northerners over the insecurity. He doesn't want to come out and speak bold. Even the Reverend Father himself has said no, that there is nothing like genocide in his state. It's so shameful that an American is the one now telling the world that they have about 600 people in Benue State. The people of Benue, it's time to reject Father Ulia. It's time to say no to Father Ulia in 2027 election. If you vote for him, you are already an antichrist. If you vote for him, you are working against the purpose for which Jesus came. It is for these Christians that Jesus came. So if you cannot defend your Christian faith, you can't defend that of your brother. You are already a betrayer. Nigerians must stand up to say no to this kind of atrocity happening in Nigeria. How can we have 600 plus people in IDP camps in Benue State alone, and then Christians will rally around to go and vote for Tinubu? Look at the governor of Rivers State. Tinubu wants the entire Nigeria to be in one state. This is actually what caused the coup in Benin Republic, because the president wants permanent power to themselves. You know, they extended it from a 5-term presidency to a 5-year for 1 term. They now extended it to 7 years, so that anybody that wins, maybe he wants to put his son if he's leaving, and then his son is going to be there for 7 years before he runs 2nd term, 14 years. If he does 3rd term, you know, is how many years? Then if he runs like Paul Biya that has been there forever, you know what that means. This is actually what prompted the coup, but nobody is talking about the reasons for the coup. They are only seeing the coup alone to have happened as if the military just woke up and became jealous and became angry. No, something provoked them. The military is not well funded. They are not being well taken care of. They have also cited the surge of insecurity in their country. You know, just like in Nigeria, see what is happening. The military will complain of salary. They are not being well taken care of. You can imagine if they should go on strike, what will happen? These invaders will just come into Nigeria and invade Nigeria. So guys, a whole lot is yet to be done, and it's really so sad when you see people like when you see Christians who are running to the APC. APC is destroying Christianity. If you are voting the APC, just know that you are an antichrist, no matter how anybody tries to explain it. A party that came in and brought in, they said they brought in militias, and after the election they didn't know what to do with them again, and they've refused to go back. Now they've resorted to killing Christians because they have to take over the land in Nigeria, because they have to own a land. So guys, these are some of the things we are saying, and many Nigerians are just like as if all these things are not real. Now Raimo himself was on ground, you know, and he saw things for himself, what is going on in Nigeria, and he has raised alarm that more than 600,000 people are in IDP camps. I just hope this sends a very strong and powerful message to the Tinubu's government, you know, and he has promised to just keep giving more updates on the fact-finding mission they came to. Now, let me just read out some of the reactions from Nigerians. Like this person say, I'm glad you were not denied access to visit IDP camps, as the same way Peter Obi, the 2023 presidential candidate, was prevented from when he wanted to go to visit the victims on humanitarian ground. It wasn't his first visit. Kindly read his audio below. This was Peter Obi writing when he wanted to go to Benue, and this same Reverend Father in Benue, hey, I don't know how he ended up becoming a Reverend Father. This man has joined APC, his brain just stopped working. I mean, his brain stopped working. He came out. Previously, he said, oh, it was genocide. Now, he said, oh, there's no genocide because the APC has told them nobody should accept it is a genocide. Can you imagine? You are playing with the lives of people. God is going to question all of you. The Bible says anybody that will lead these young ones to temptation, it's better you use stone and put it around your neck and you'll be thrown into the deepest of the ocean. That is what we are seeing today. Now, this person said, Raimo, just watch this video below of ISWAP attack on the Nigerian military in Borno State, Nigeria, earlier released today. Please, US should do something very urgent. Nigeria is losing officers to these jihadists. Thank you. So Nigeria is losing officers. It does not bother the Senate president. He's not the one that quickly approved Tinubu sending troops to Benin Republic. Even if they go there and buy, they don't even think. They don't think. You want to go and invade another person. Your family, your house is burning. and the Tinubu's government is going to invade another country. See, ISWAP released this video, see how intense the fight is. They are engaging with the Nigerian military. This one is not terrorists, it's on the run. Run for where? They have the armory, they have the strength, they have the equipment. See them withstanding the Nigerian military as if these people are legitimate fighters. These are terrorists that are supposed to have been fight. They've been pampered. Now, an ex-general is coming out to say that the Buhari's government was not happy when Shekau, the Boko Haram leader, was killed. So, guys, this is to tell you that the northern leaders are another bunch of problem Nigeria has. Many of them, they are sympathizers of these people, provided they bring jihad to Nigeria, provided they turn Nigeria into a Muslim world. And the best thing is separate these countries, divide Nigeria. That is what a former naval commander advised him. We just divide the country, let the country be on its own. Divide the country, let everybody go his own way. That is just it. So, guys, a whole lot is happening in this country, and it's really, really sad that you still see people singing the Tinubu's praise, you know. You still see people singing the Tinubu's praise. And this person here said, the demon has been doing, okay, this person is talking about Sheikh Gumi, like this headline says, Nigerian military can't win war against bandits, says Sheikh Gumi. Sheikh Gumi is saying that Nigerian military can never win this war. Can you imagine? And Rufai was like, is this like joke for somebody to come out and declare this, that Nigeria can never win the war against terrorists? This is Sheikh Gumi saying it boldly, and he walks around, nobody can dare touch him. I don't know the kind of powers that are protecting and shielding Gumi. Anything he says out anywhere, nobody can dare him. That tells you that there are really there are people who own this country, and that is why he boldly told us that if Nnamdi Kanu can come out to denounce his fight for Biafra, that he's going to canvass on Nnamdi Kanu's release. That's to tell you that he knows the people holding Nnamdi Kanu. They know Nnamdi Kanu is not fighting for himself. He's fighting for the Alibu. They just want us to be a united nation, a united country, so for the benefit they get from the South, not because they feel that you deserve to be a human being, not because they feel you deserve, you deserve to be alive. Can you imagine? Sheikh Gumi came out to say that Nigerian military cannot win the war against, he calls it bandits, these are terrorists, that Nigerian military cannot win the war against them. That is a bold statement. That is a statement that is coming from, it's an assurance that is coming from somewhere. Something is backing this man. Something is giving him the audacity, the boldness to say what he's saying. And guess what? The Nigerian military can never go. The DSS can never invite him. Tinubu's government cannot raise alarm. Nnamdi Kanu is jailed for what he said. See what Sheikh Gumi is saying, that the Nigerian military cannot succeed in this battle. And he walks around. Nnamdi Kanu has been jailed by Omotosho because of audio he made, not even while in Nigeria. Audio he made, a broadcast he made while in Britain. So, guys, you can see what is happening in this country. It's really, really so sad that Nigeria is facing all this at such a time. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.